In focus, that's Adani Enterprises. After the company has formed a new joint venture specifically to entering into the metal scraping as well as the cables and wire space, and we're seeing an impact across the cables and wire company as well. My colleague Somi joins in with some key details of this new entry.
Yes, UBS in fact has come out, and a lot of other sales analysts also came out with their note, like ICICI Securities, JM Financial, but those were not PDF notes, but WhatsApp to their clients. But what is the news, new development that has come in is that Adani Enterprises 100% wholly owned subsidiary Kutch Copper plans to form a 50-50 JV, that is joint venture, with Praneetha Ventures Pvt. Ltd. Now the joint venture's name will be Praneetha Ecocables Ltd, and it will engage in the business of manufacturing, marketing, distribution, buying and selling of metal products, cables and the wires as well. Now the additional capital expenditure or investment details are still not available, but so far we know that the investment in share capital will be just 10 lakh rupees by both the parties in the joint venture. Separately, we also know that Kutch Copper also announced that it has joined the International Copper Association as its newest member, and it will establish a copper smelter in Mundra, Gujarat, with an initial investment of close to $1.2 billion US. And this, because of this investment, it will enable an annual production capacity of around 0.5 million tons in the first phase, which could be increased even going forward. That is what the plan is currently. And this facility will manufacture copper cathodes, rods and other byproducts as well. So the parent company, that is Kutch Copper, will be into the business of manufacturing copper and copper byproducts, while the joint venture will deal in metals, cables and wires. And UBS note is saying that the competitive intensity in the cable and wire segment post this announcement could increase, given the fact that a large serious player, that is Adani Group, has entered the cable and wire space. Now the capital expenditure plans of Adani Enterprises in the cable and wire space is not known, but this announcement itself could be sentimentally negative for the existing players like Havells, KEI and Polycab, and that's the reason why these stocks are down anywhere between 5 to 8% in trade post this announcement and post this UBS note that has come in today morning.
Got that view. Swami, thanks so much for joining in with all those details. Lancelot, specifically, how are you seeing the cables and wire space? Because we've seen Ultratech's entry into the same as well, another potential player coming in. How do you see the impact on the current and the existing players such as Polycab, KEI Industries, RR Kabel? And how do you view the space of the large players choosing to enter a space with high return ratios as well, but a lot of volatility in terms of commodity markets?
So I think, if one has to look at this space, yes, it is a fast growing space. There is relatively good margins in the business, which is why some of the big, big groups have decided to enter into the space. And we have seen this in the past. Whenever big groups enter into a space, their competitive intensity leads to, maybe in the shorter term, some amount of margin erosion even for the existing players, and plus there'll be some amount of market share which gets given up in favor of the new players, right? So I think the rate of growth of the existing players will slow down going forward. And even probably that should have an impact on the valuation. So the valuations of many of the existing players, because of the previous rates of growth that were there, were far in excess of, maybe normalized valuations. And now we will start to see many of these stocks come back to normalized valuations. Till such time, some of the strong companies in the space can continue to build their moat and consolidate their positions. So I think it's going to be a very interesting and a difficult space for the next year or so. And one has to be a little cautious and maybe wait for some severe corrections or significant corrections in terms of prices to bring valuations down to, let's say, closer to the 5-year trading multiples. And then that should be a good entry point to look at it. But definitely one has to be, again, cautious with this kind of a venture in the pipeline.
Yeah, it's interesting because there are certain details that we yet have to know. We don't know if Ultratech is going to enter into the cables or wires business, and what kind of capex is Adani Enterprises looking forward in the space via its JV. But we should focus